From a poet whose pulse fell drum, drum, drum. He would perform praise and all till one day you heard a voice call, come, come, come.
This is where it all began. We spent several days in Cape Town, got to go on a lot of tours, see a lot of its culture and history, and hopefully I'll get to share some of that here. This here is called the Bokop, previously known as the Malay Quarter. You'll notice that a lot of the houses are painted bright colors. That's because hundreds of years ago, these colors were used to distinguish whose house was whose. Nowadays, some of these houses have such great historical value that they're actually considered national monuments. This is the Castle of Good Hope. It was built by the Dutch back in the 17th century and is the oldest building currently standing in Cape Town. It's a lot like Old Fort William or lots of the old forts you see in Canada. You can tour around and actually lay your hands on history, which is pretty cool. Now if you look up, you'll see that the castle is flying several different flags. That second flag from the left is the flag of the old government, the one that instituted the apartheid policy. This castle is the only place in South Africa that is legally allowed to fly this flag, purely for historical reasons. The flag on the far left is the current flag of South Africa. While we were here, our tour guide, Mohammed, was nice enough to give us a rundown on the symbolism of the flag.
Okay, then the green is for the agriculture and the plants in the country because we're very rich in flowers. The red for bloodshed, the white for the peace, the blue for the two oceans, even in Atlantic. But the flag is split into two. Black, yellow and green is the colors of the African National Congress, the Black People's Party. White, yellow and green were the colors of the white oppressed party. They were split for so many years. They've now come together as one unity.
Twice a day at the castle, they reenact what is called the key ceremony. It simulates what would have happened back when the fort was operational. An officer hands off the key to another soldier, who in turn opens the front door of the castle, and this would have happened every morning. Now if you look closely on the door, you can see a bunch of spikes. I don't know if our tour guide was joking or not, but he told us that those spikes were to prevent enemies from using elephants to ram the gate of the castle. Now if that's true, that is awesome. At the end of this ceremony, a cannon is fired. For some reason, our footage of the cannon actually firing got screwed up, so you're gonna have to use your imagination a little bit. Table Mountain, and a mountain chain whose peaks are known as the 12 Apostles, surround Cape Town. You can actually take a tram car up to the top of Table Mountain. Unfortunately, it was too foggy that day, so we didn't get a chance to go up. We did get a very nice view of it and the surrounding area of Cape Town from the top of what's known as Signal Hill. From Signal Hill, you can see what's known as Robben Island. For you history buffs, that's the island where the prison that held Nelson Mandela for 30 years is. We didn't get a chance to go out there and see a cell, but we did get to see the island from here. On our second day in Cape Town, we left the city proper and took a tour of the smaller towns and sites further down the peninsula. We got to the town known as Hout Bay, where, as part of our package, we got to go on a boat tour out to a place known as Seal Island. We headed down the peninsula to the Penguin Preserve at Simonstown. Now these cute little guys are officially known as South African penguins. More commonly, they're known as jackass penguins because they make a noise like a donkey braying. Personally, I think it just sounds like generic penguin noises, but I'll let you be the judge. After 3 days in Cape Town, we flew out east to Durban. We rented a car and drove north to a town called Shishlui. Now let's play a little guessing game here. How do you spell Shishlui? Is it A, B, or C? The correct answer is, of course, none of the above. On the way to the hotel, we got lost, and we ended up next to what looked like a sugar processing plant. Cop car pulls up next to us. You folks look lost. My mom turns to him. Yeah, could you tell us how to get to Halui? Cop looks at us like we're crazy until we bring over the map to him. Oh, Shishlui! Oh, I'm still probably pronouncing that wrong. But eventually we ended up at our hotel. The hotel was located right next to a private game reserve, so that very night we got to go on our very first safari. This is a pair of male elephants. When the males reach a certain age, they're kicked out of the herd that they were raised in, and oftentimes they'll form little bachelor herds like this. What's really amazing is just how close you can get to some of these animals. Take this water buffalo, for example. We could have reached out and touched this thing. It's like they have no fear at all of the vehicles. The next day, we drove out to the nearby town of St. Lucia, where we all got to see the Indian Ocean for the first time. While we were in St. Lucia, we also went on a riverboat tour. It was really nice. The crew would announce whenever they'd spotted anything. But the guy that did the announcing had a voice like one of those countdown guys from a James Bond movie. Ipo. 3 o'clock. Ipo. We kept making fun of it the rest of the trip. Overpass. 11 o'clock. Overpass. It was one of those things that at the time seemed hilarious.